Welcome back.
Hey, hey.
Hey.
I'm so excited to be with y'all. I be ready to kiki like, okay, let's do this.
Do it.
Yes, sis. Let's go. We got it.
So
So,
first, thank you for
yes.
coming. It's such a pleasure to see your beautiful face.
Mhm.
I always forget your age because you always tell us how old you are, and I'm like, that girl's
No
a
way.
liar. She's a
Yes.
liar.
41, 41.
She's
No
I'm
a
way.
liar.
41.
We gonna have to get that checked.
Yes.
I don't believe
I
that.
will give you my license.
Listen.
I will give you my license. 41 is where I'm at right now.
Okay.
But
Listen,
it
look
Yes.
is
good.
it is always a pleasure
Thank
to have
you.
you. It's like the first time you came on, we just all clicked.
We
Yep. We
did.
did. We did.
Absolutely.
Just
Yep.
clicked. So it's, and I know that you're gonna keep it real.
Yep.
And we're gonna
We
talk
want
about
to
the hard
definitely
stuff.
have some real talk. And I'm so excited to talk about this topic, especially because just of what the chapter that I'm in right now, but also just where a lot of people are. It seems like for over the past 2 years, we've been in kind of a sift and shift mood where
Mhm.
we're shifting through things and sifting through things. And so I'm really excited to talk about how this looks in general. You think that things are forever and sometimes they aren't. So
Mhm.
so yeah, and then I was like, it was at night, and I was like, Chanel, I want to talk about barrels and friends, and she was like, hold on. So I'm really excited to get on the schedule and talk about it. But yeah, so basically, what it was I started this. I think our first episode, I started with my best friend,
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
and so we're still. She will always be my best friend, and that's the thing that as women we always have to remember that just because you're not in relationship with somebody doesn't mean that you don't have relationship with somebody.
Mm.
She
Yes.
will always be my best friend, but it just doesn't mean that our time it hasn't ended. There's an intermission or a season where sometimes we have to do things independent.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So really where the barrel thing came from is when I was a kid, did y'all ever play the monkeys in the barrel game?
Yeah, I did.
So you get a color and then you put all your monkeys on a table and you have to scoop the monkey to the
Yeah.
other monkeys. Then you gotta,
They like little
yeah.
minks.
So the cool part about the game originally was that when it was made, you only get 12 monkeys in a barrel, but it can hold 24.
Mhm.
And so you always thought about it like, I just want to win my color. And it was never meant for you to just win what was yours. You were supposed to connect with people. You were supposed to make relationships, i.e., the monkeys. And then the longer your chain was, the more you won. And so sometimes we get into these relationships and we stay stuck with somebody to hold on to some monkey, be man, woman, friend, whatever. And we get stuck in these moments where we want to win. And sometimes holding on is making the weight too much. And you end up losing because all of your monkeys fall off.
Oh,
Mm.
wait a minute. Like
Hold
you
on. So
saying a
first
lot of
of all,
things.
hold on.
I love
We
your
can bring it back. We can
analogy.
bring it back.
Look, you know how they say how Kevin Hart said you ain't gonna speed past that, like you ain't say
Whoa.
what you just said.
That's right.
Whoa.
No, we can bring it
It's
back.
the analogy for me
It's
because
the
I
analogy
know
for me
this. I
too.
love this.
Interesting. So I have not played Monkeys in a Barrel.
Okay. So we definitely got to get to this game.
But I'm semi-familiar. Like I have seen it. I have not played it directly, but
Mhm.
I certainly understand the concept in the way that
Mm.
you explained it, right? And in the way to win is to make the connections, to link
Mhm.
up, but you have to make the right connections,
Mhm.
right? And how sometimes holding on to one connection can cost you the other connections
Mhm.
because you're focused on the one. You
And
said
can
a
cost you your
whole
win
your
too.
win.
That's the part. Like
That's
holding
right.
on is gonna
Oh
cost you
God,
winning.
Jesus,
That's a word.
that's a whole word.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And so we as a collective, as women,
Yeah.
when we connect with people, we tend to hold on to the relationship and we build other relationships off of it. But then it has contingencies, right? So if you're connected to me, but I don't like her, she needs to go. There's a lot of stuff that can get into it. Or I'll be honest with you, I'm not a good three friender. Like it can't. Three of us is really hard for me. I do good with like a 2 and 2, because for me, I love when everybody's connected. And sometimes when you don't have an odd man out, it sometimes feels like another person is always kind of, come on. So,
The third wheel.
Yeah.
uh-huh,
Yeah.
uh-huh. So I'd be like, I like groups of women in general, but I always like groups of women where everybody has some kind of counterpart, um, and that you can feel good when you're in a room of full of women. So, to rewind the monkeys and the barrels and friendship is just very much to what Chanel said. It's the win. So are you holding on to something to replace, it's preventing you from the win. I'll say that the season that I was in my 40s was definitely shift. Everything shifted. My marriage shifted because my husband was healing from having open heart surgery. My daughter decided that she was going to go to Paris for 6 months and live there and do her schooling. Um, and I just was kind of like, everybody's, doing their thing. And here I am holding on to everything. But what am I winning?
Mm.
And so my season was dry.
Mm.
And I didn't have anything. And I would look to my friends and I'm looking at everybody doing these great things. And I was never jealous of it, but I just would reflect back to myself and go, well, what's my win? What happened to my wins? And I've attached myself to other people's dreams.
Mm.
So, you get with your friend and you'll be like, your friend be like, oh, I want to do this. And you'd be like, okay, cool. I'll help you. And then you start to forget about the things that you wanted to.
Yeah.
And it becomes that kind of monkeys in a barrel mentality where as long as we're all on the same wavelength, and holding on to each other, someone's going to lose.
Yeah.
And I was looking back and someone was me.
Yeah.
So then how do you know when you're stuck or when you're holding on to the wrong connection? Like, what are the signs?
For me, I was starting to get upset. So, right, you sit there and you reflect and you're in a relationship and you'd be like, I don't like how this feels for me. I don't feel like the things that I want, I'm verbalizing, or the things that I need, I'm saying. And so it kind of feels like you're mute in a world full of speaking people. And, they're talking about their greatness and you don't really have much to contribute to the conversation. And I definitely use that as my temperature check. Like, I don't have a new book. I don't have a new whatever. I've aligned myself with other people's success. And I'm not saying that that's not a great thing because we have to collaborate, but you also have to keep something for yourself. Your phone will tell you when it's going to cut off, like you have this much battery and then we're turning it off. And so you have to look at yourself and be like, okay, you have this much left for yourself. And if you don't use it, it'll cut you off real quick. So I was looking at myself and I was like, I want to have some accolades. I want to do some things for myself. At 40, you look at it like I only got 40 years left. Honestly, in our average gestational time period, we have a good 80 to 90 years to be amazing on this earth. And if I've given half of it away, I can't give the other half away. So those are the kind of things that for me, my thinking started to change. And I was like, well, what do you want then? You're a great mom, you're a great friend, you're a great wife, you're good at all these things, but what makes you good? How do you feel good about you? And I wasn't doing that. So the pause was needed. And then you have to sift through what's not working. And then the next part is you have to shift, right? So we can acknowledge when stuff's not working, but then if you sit on your hands about it, you're not going to go anywhere.
Right.
That's facts. That's definitely facts. So in that moment of pausing in stillness and where you had the realization like, okay, well, I'm starting to feel, for lack of better words, like depleted. Like I'm everywhere, but then there's nothing left for Lea. So in that moment of stillness, like what type of things were you doing or what was kind of going through your mind at that point?
First, it was lonely, because you kind of have to sit in yourself and then, there's things about yourself and you don't like them. And it's like,
Yes.
look who I've become. And in those moments, it's a lot of acknowledgement and a lot of reflection. And so I always encourage people that acceptance and acknowledgement is going to be your biggest piece in life. As we get older and into our 40s and 50s, the acceptance that something's not going the way we thought, or the acceptance that something's not going to end up the way we planned, is going to be the key to peace, right? I love your face. So it's going to be the key to peace, is that just acknowledging that what I thought may not be how this turns out. And so I need to just kind of shift and ride the wave. And that's what it took, is just what things can I control? What things can't I control? And what things am I trying to control that I have no business trying to control?
Now, That's a whole word right there because
All the
so
words.
I've been saying that this year that's what I want to do is just accept things for what they are,
Mhm.
right? Just like look at the situation and say this is what it is.
Mhm.
That's what it is.
Not what I want it to be, not what it should be, not what I thought it should be, but literally just take it for what it is. And if you don't like it, don't accept it.
Right.
You
Yep.
know,
Mm.
that's it. Move on, right? And I agree that it's certainly the key to peace
Yeah.
because
Mhm.
when you don't have peace is when you're trying to make something be something that it's not, or you're mad at the situation or a person or yourself for how things are. But it's like it is what it is.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
just is what it is, and whether you like it or not, it still is what it is. So
Yeah.
you might as well accept it and move on.
And move on.
And
Jeez.
that's when the game changes. So you start the game in with the monkeys out of the barrel. And
Mhm.
as you collect them, at some point you end up in the barrel.
Mm.
Mm,
And then you have to climb out.
Yeah.
And
mm,
some of the monkeys that you didn't put in the barrel, you have to use them on your way out. You have to say, you know what, this boundary doesn't work for me, so you can't, whatever. And this is not the places where I want to be. Or, my barrel doesn't have enough room for any more than the 12 people that came with it. So you have to step off, or you say, you know what, my barrel needs a new facelift and it needs travel and it needs excitement and it needs adventure. And, not everybody can come. And that's okay. And I'm learning that just because relationships separate doesn't mean they end.
Yeah.
And I think that for a lot of people is like, when it's over said and done. What somebody else does with their feelings about a relationship is not your business.
hello.
Not it's not your business.
Your business.
Mm.
How I feel about a relationship is what's important to me.
Yeah.
And so until we can find a common ground, how you feel about where we're at is not my business.
Mm.
And as long as we stay in our business, then we can move forward. We can adjust, we can shift. We have potential to get out of the barrel and to make new relationships.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And that's the other part that stagnates us. So like, you can be in a friendship for 20 years and then you don't decide to be friends with that person anymore. You go, I'm not going to have no friendships no more because this is,
Mm.
and you have no idea what you're missing out on. You're missing out on the win that Chanel is talking about.
Yeah.
And I don't want to lose no more.
Mhm.
Ooh.
I choose not to be. I've learned that the L, if you reverse it, is a step to the next level.
Mm.
So if you look at the letter L and you flip it over, it now becomes a step.
Yeah.
Yes.
Come
And if we
on.
take the next step,
I think
the
Leah
doubt,
wants Mike.
I'm just listen. Just saying, like, come
the
on.
imposter syndrome, the I can't do it alone. I mean, sometimes a staircase is made for one person.
Mm.
Look.
Especially the ones that go like up to the towers and stuff. When you were talking about being in Dubai, when you get all the way to that tippy top, ain't no room for all of us to come. We can
Right.
probably all see it at one time, but we all can't stand on that needle together. And so that's that whole, make successful relationships and connect, but understand that your purpose is what comes first.
Ooh. Yes. That's man. You going. Listen, what's your cash app so we can
Right.
send you an
Girl,
offering because you are going in. But as you're talking, it's making me think about. And you've been on our show before, so we know some background. But those of you who may be listening for the first time and hearing Lea for the first time, this is what you're saying is very like wise. And being a woman that's 41 now, like you've learned some things in your lifetime and how to maneuver through this. So thinking back to like earlier friendships, like what was your relationship like making friends? Like how did you process that in your younger years, and then how did you get this wise and this grace that you have right now?
So, in transparency, when I was younger, I wanted to have friends. I wasn't very good at being the person who was like, "Hey, you want to be my friend?" I was also a person that equated friendship with barter or a service.
Mm.
That's also my love language is acts of service. So I figured if I was the friend who bought you a lollipop, gave you some money, picked you up in my car, that was friendship. And what I learned is that for some people is not that. And I didn't know how to speak any other language than acts of service, because what you learn in your childhood is that you normally speak the language of love the way you're loved.
Yep.
So my mother loved me by taking me to amusement parks and places that made me happy. And I interpreted that as love. And so when I gave love to other people or friendship, it was in service. Now, if you align yourself with somebody whose love is, physical touch, there's going to be a lot of differences in what time means to each other. As I got older, I started to be a people pleaser. So how can I help you? And what can I give you? And then I would get resentful and be like, hey, I did all this and now you won't, I call you and you're not around. And a resentment came towards that. So I would say that the friends I probably had when I was really young, like high school years, as I got older and we started to, become independent people and children and lives, I wanted to maintain that whole I got you, you got me, we're friends. And I had to learn that sometimes people just can't have you. They just don't have the capacity to have your back at the times you need them. That doesn't mean that they don't wish they could. It doesn't mean that they don't want to. It just means that right now I can't do that. So for me, when you be like, oh, you call me and I'm like, here's some money or here's some friendship or I'll pick you up or use my car. And then I call you and you go, I'm going to pray for you, sis. My Capricorn will come out real quick like, oh, you know what? My phone number is blocked and you can't call me, and don't worry about it because you can't treat me that way. That's probably the 30-year-old me. In my 40s, we have to extend grace. And so as you reflect and you get older, you have to understand that the position that you're in may want to be with someone and you just can't do it because you don't got it to give. And so maybe all I can do is pray for you in this moment. That doesn't mean I love you less. It doesn't mean that if I had it, I wouldn't give it to you. It just means that my capacity to be your friend today, this is what I have. And friendship should not have expectation. So because I've done it for you time and time again, does not mean you'll do it for me. I have to love you with no expectation. So when I love with acts of service and I literally give people what I have, I don't expect it in return. But when we get to the points of boundaries and respect and things like that, then we have to have a conversation. But it really was a reflective of I could not please anybody else till I could please myself. And I did not learn that until I decided that I was just as important as everybody else. I was my friend too.
Yeah. In one of the pre-recorded episodes, my favorite cousin was on and he had this whole analogy about capacity. And he was saying like, you might be a gallon jug and they might be like a pint size, whatever, and sometimes people just don't have that capacity. So it's just not a good fit, if that's what you need, right? If this is what you need and they don't have it, you're just not a good fit. Don't make them a bad person. Don't make you a bad person. This is just not going to be a successful relationship in that regard. So to your point, sometimes it's about I need to love you in afar, because you can't give me what I need, or vice versa. I can't give you what you need. Right. And now I can see that and I can acknowledge that. And I'm not going to keep expecting, right? Because you've shown me what you can do. So I'm not going to keep expecting more when you don't have the capacity to do it. So I need to rearrange this relationship or this friendship or this, whatever this is, to a matter that is beneficial for me, because continuing to move in the same capacity, is going to lead to the resentment.
Absolutely. Yep.
Right, because you don't have it to give, and I need it. So we're not a match.
Right. And it doesn't mean, like I said, it doesn't mean I love you less.
Exactly.
It just means that what I need right now, you're not the person who can fulfill it. I used to do an exercise with people where I would I would line people up and I would give them a glass of water from my cup. I would fill my cup up and I would have them share it. And then at the end of the day, I don't have nothing. So I learned to drink from the cup first. And then what I have left over, I can share from.
Right. I'm giving from excess.
Giving from absolutely.
Don't deplete me. Yeah. But I think to your point, though, I think that's the biggest misconception is that if I change the nature of the relationship, or if I decide not to be in contact with someone, or if I do not reconcile, that I do not love. And that to me is one of the most detrimental things in the Black community, right? Is that
Mhm.
forgiveness means reconciliation
Yeah.
when they're two totally different things. I can forgive you,
Amen.
I can still love you, and I cannot kick it with you every day
Mhm.
Yeah.
because now
Mhm.
you're putting conditions on my love now.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But me, I'm
Mhm.
accepting you for who you are. I see that you don't have the capacity. I see what I need. And I'm making the decision to love me and to do what's best for me.
Yeah.
But because that's uncomfortable for you, now I'm the villain.
Mm.
But really, I'm giving you freedom to be who you are
And find people like-minded like you.
and find like
Okay.
people like you.
Find some people that got a gallon.
Like people
There we
like you,
go.
because I'm
Find your
going to
gallon.
find like people like me.
That's
And
right.
there was a quote that we posted on our page a while ago, but it was saying how, when you tell people no, you give them room to find the yes that they deserve.
Mm.
That right there. That is so key to your peace in your older years.
Mm.
I love when people break up with me. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I'm sorry when somebody says to me, "Hey, you know what? I don't want to go out tonight." I go, "Thank you," and I put my pajamas back on, and I let my undergarments go, and enjoy my couch with my snacks.
Listen, you
Look,
ain't wrong.
let me say,
Cancel
first
on
of all, I was
me.
never dressed anyway, honey.
Okay.
Hello,
Okay.
hello, but cancel on
Listen.
me. You know, do
And
what's
now,
best for
look,
you.
you saved me from scrambling in the last 10 minutes because I wasn't even up. I
Listen
was
here.
bundled up underneath the cover. Okay.
Cancel on me anytime.
Please cancel.
I'm good with it. You know, and the part is
For
that
me, I don't want the inauthenticity.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why for me, give
Yep.
me the no.
Yeah.
Don't play with me.
Yeah.
Because one thing about me is I'm definitely not going to play with you. That's too much work. I'm not going to sit up here and put up a facade and pretend like things are something that they're not. When I see something for what it is, I cannot continue to act
Yep.
like it's not.
Yeah.
The way that my morals and values are set up, I just cannot do it.
Mm-hmm.
I
As
can't.
I say, my nice nasty comes out.
Ooh, not the nice nasty.
My
Yeah.
nice nasty will come out, and I'm stretching that. You know that Capricorn nice nasty. So
Yeah.
either we're gonna be great, or I'm definitely not gonna be the person you want to spend the rest of this evening with because I didn't want to come anyway.
That's the part. Yes.
But I love when people break. I love when people break up with me in business when we're
Mm.
not a good fit. We're just not a good fit. I love when people break up with me in events and relationships. So if somebody cancels something, okay, cool. I can support you from this couch. Do
Mm.
you need a check or a coin or a donation? I really love when people tell me what their boundaries are because I can respect transparency.
Yes.
What I can't respect is when we have unrealistic expectations of what we want from each other.
Mm.
They are absolutely not attainable because, first of all, they're unrealistic expectations. So for us to force the round peg into the square part, it makes no sense.
It's not a fit.
Mm.
It's not a fit.
And a fit.
They tell you that in interviews. We're just not a good fit.
yeah.
Not a good fit.
It's just not a good fit.
And what we always say, and people got to realize is, and that's okay.
That is okay.
like you got to realize
Because
that.
I'm not going to keep fighting to be here
No,
if you don't want me, no way.
it's okay. If you don't want
It
me, then
doesn't
don't talk
serve
to
me.
me. What Fantasia has said.
It does not serve me.
Not at
Then
all.
find somebody that makes you happy. Be around people that you enjoy. I don't want to be around somebody who does not enjoy being around me.
Yeah.
Why would we do that to each other?
Especially if it's just for the sake of saying that we friends or we're a
Yeah.
couple or we business partner or whatever. Like we
We've
check
known
the
each other
box.
for 20 years.
Right.
Yeah, no.
Okay, so we gonna do 21 like this? Because
Right.
I'm not.
Yeah.
No thanks. I saw this one time on Oprah. Dr. Phil was on there, and this is when I was in college. I was like 20 or something like that. And the woman was in a horrible relationship. She was in an abusive relationship, and she kept telling Dr. Phil, "But we've been together for 10 years. And he was like, "And you want to make this 11?
Right.
You want to make this relationship 11?
Do you want to live to 11, bro? Because you could
Right.
die.
I was that horrible woman because I would justify relationships, as many of us do. And so, for those who haven't heard my stories, I stayed in an abusive domestic violence relationship for 15 years. It started at a very young age where I could have done something else. And I chose based on what my unrealistic expectation was that somebody was going to change. And I did not want to be the product of what I became from my childhood. So I made this unrealistic expectation that the longer I stayed, it gave more time for someone to change. And what we don't understand is that when people show you who they are the first time, believe them. They've shown you. And when they show you the second time, they showed you the first time again. It's like watching a really bad movie over and over and over. So if you stay in that relationship at a certain point, it's not them, it's you.
It's you,
Mhm.
Leah. You are preaching my whole life. So I too have stayed in relationships that have expired because I too thought, oh, they don't mean it. They didn't know no better.
Mm.
They going through something. Like just
Mhm.
giving all the
All the
excuses,
grace,
all the
yeah.
grace and all the excuses. But the truth is, this person is being who they've always been
Mhm.
for the 20 years,
That's
for
right.
the 10 years, right?
Yeah.
You the one. You know, you know what I'm saying? You put it on them like, oh, you know, this was wrong, but they didn't mean it, or they no. You're the one giving them excuses. They've been very consistent. They
Mhm.
have been authentically who they are. You refuse to accept what they have shown you. So at this point, you shouldn't even be mad at them. You should be mad
Mhm.
at yourself.
It's you.
It
Yeah.
is you.
Yeah. Shout out to Robin who said that.
You
Like
the
it
issue,
always comes back
right?
to you.
Like you have seen who they are. For whatever reason, you refuse to believe what they have already shown you time and time again, year after year after year. Like, at what point are we going to be accountable and say, you know what? I have chosen to
Mm.
continue in this relationship. So therefore, I get what I get at this point.
You know, it was funny that when I went to my first therapy and I was justifying my behavior, my therapist turned to me and said, well, if you sit long enough in the bathroom, that poop starts to smell like flowers, right?
Mm.
It
So
does.
it really is true is that after a while, when you sit in your own stuff, it don't smell no more. It doesn't have a stench to it. It doesn't have an uncomfortability. And I always say to my daughter, who's now 22, is that when you're uncomfortable, it is an internal innate feeling to do something different. It is not for you to feel upset. It is not for you to feel bad about what you're doing. It is an opportunity to shift the narrative and do something else. And as long as we continue to get uncomfortable, I don't want to become, when my life gets comfortable, I pray that somebody has a really silver, like lined casket and some doves and stuff, because that will be when I need to rest. But as long as I continue at some stage of my life to get uncomfortable, there's an additional level for me to pass in order to be the next best person I can be.
The next version of yourself.
That's good. The next, yeah.
Yes.
the
And we
next
talk
best
about the whole
version.
idea of the boiling water, right?
Oh,
How,
yeah,
like
with the
the
toad.
frog.
Oh, yeah.
You
Is it
made
toad?
it,
Is it
you
frog?
made it into a toad, girl.
Okay,
Who knows?
sorry.
The frog and the toad.
So,
The frog and the toad for me.
It's
Okay.
one of them.
all
I
of them.
love this. Yes.
But the whole idea that when you turn it up really
Yeah.
slowly, when you turn up the temperature of the water really slowly, you don't even the toad or the frog doesn't even realize that it's boiling and it's literally dying.
Mm.
Right? The environment is literally wreaking havoc on the toad or the frog, right? And causing, dying.
Yeah.
It's dying.
It's
But
a
you don't
frog.
even realize that you're contributing to your own. It's like a suicide,
Yeah.
almost like a suicide mission,
Mm.
because you're so committed to being connected to that monkey.
And the acceptance of knowing that your life is in seasons. So
Yeah.
if I don't know about y'all, but my life go real great for a long time, and then
Sure.
it feels like the world just crashed.
Yes.
And everything is wrong. Not just one
Yes.
thing is wrong. And when
All
that happens for me, I know that is time for self-examination.
Mm-hmm.
That's when there's no more trips and no more this and no more that. That's when I have to sit down and be like, okay, at this point, everything around me is starting to crash. That's only because what's internally going on with me is now affecting the external of my life. So I need to pause and figure out what can stay, what has to shift, and where I have to shift. And that really has been where in my 40s, and I think that's going to continue for a while, because they say in your 50s you're like, forget it, I don't care, like, but in your 40s you're really sifting through adolescence, and all those parts of your life that you kind of experienced, and then you're sitting here going, well, what do I want to take into the next 40 years? I love travel. That's going with me. What I don't love is disrespect. I can't have that. If we have that, you can't come. And so you're making some very clear sifting and shifting. And what's going to end up coming out in my 40s will be the cake of my 50s. So all the, unnecessary cannot come with me in my 50s, because my 50s is for me.
Look, as it should be. That's, you know what I think is so amazing though about how you started off this episode talking about the monkeys in the barrel and the wind, how all of that is connected. Because I've said I too have certainly stayed connected in relationships well beyond the expiration period. The season has ended,
Mm-hmm.
but I decided that we need to be together forever,
Yeah.
right? And even by one of my first relationships, I was with the guy for 6 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
That probably should have ended after year one, maybe.
Mhm.
Um, but it's amazing how we try to segment our lives and we think that, oh, this is dysfunctional right now, but it'll get better. And then I
Mm-hmm.
can still do all these other things. But literally, it bleeds over into every aspect of your life. And then the second you do make that change and you say, you know what, this season has come to an end, I got to move on, then everything else shifts.
Yep.
Everything else just takes off.
It was
And
like
you're
I was
like,
waiting on you.
yeah.
Yourself is
Well,
like,
you were holding
yep.
yourself back because
Yeah.
you refused to acknowledge the season
Yeah.
or the state that you were in. So, because you weren't able to realize where you are in one area, you weren't able to grasp anything new in any other areas of your life. But the second that you decided to say, okay, I'm gonna cut this thing off, you scared,
Mm.
right? Because I've been with this guy for 6 years.
Yeah. This is all I know. Ain't
Who am
nobody
I
gonna
without
want me.
him? Right.
Not forever. We're gonna be together.
Yeah.
I wrote his
Forever.
name down.
Yeah, and I love that Chanel said that. She said, "Ain't nobody gonna want me," but girl, I was like 21. So like, what the
right?
hell?
Like,
Okay,
you
I
right.
didn't want me at
you
21.
right. Okay, you don't get no better than
Like
this.
21.
But I love that you said that because that's exactly where I was. I
Absolutely,
was
yeah.
exactly like, oh my god, like, and it's like I didn't have no kid. Like there was no like, what is your issue,
Like, girl?
Like the stories that we tell ourselves. Oh my
Crazy.
god! But in any case,
Crazy.
the second that you be like, you know what, I want to step out on faith.
Listen.
And I'm back
in the background.
relationship,
Listen.
right? Then
You
everything
fall
else
down.
just like everything else just comes to you with ease.
Yes. Yep.
And when
Like
you can wake up in the morning like that, especially when you get 40 and your knees start to make noise. I'm not lying, y'all. They start to make noise.
Jesus, guys, been started.
I be grunting on the way down now. Okay.
I'm telling you. And I'd be like, come on, Megan knees. And I'd be rubbing on like, Megan knees, Megan knees. I still need y'all.
Megan knees.
That's right. But you know, when
He's
you
like Megan, I'm just playing. Okay.
listen, no, I really I'm not losing my Megan knees. If I gotta get another knee on top of it, I'm gonna do that too.
See, I'm
Not
trying,
a new knee,
I'm
though.
trying to operate with the original equipment. I'm trying to stay with my normal standard parts.
Ain't but so much Ben Gay.
I want the original factory. I want that's
So
what I
much Ben Gay you can put on them things that sometimes you just need, a little knee pad on it so that when you do get down, it's cushion on your way back up.
Oh
But
my
yeah, no, I mean, really, it's just reevaluating and being okay with that. Changing your circle, changing your season, change your job. If you're not happy, change your job, cut your hair.
Leah,
You
you
are
want a
preaching.
mic.
I'm just saying, do it all. Do it all. Travel solo. Cut your hair.
Get a ponytail.
Listen. Change your look. Do you hear me?
Get a wig, do your eyebrow, get the eyebrow thing.
Listen.
Live
Switch it up.
without judgment.
Yes.
Live without judgment. Allow them, when we get to the pearly gates, allow them to be our judge.
Yeah.
And for right now, we have the grace every morning to wake up. You have the grace and you have the voice to say what works for you and what doesn't. And when it doesn't work, you have the power to sift and shift. And once you do that, you can't do anything but make good cake.
And you know what I love about all of that you just said? It's the accountability.
Absolutely.
It's like, you know what? This don't work for me. So I'm not going to sit up here and keep complaining about how it don't work for me and how this ain't right and this is disrespectful and this person don't do this for me, if this job is unruly or whatever. Okay, if it's that bad, why are we here?
Listen, what you doing?
Why are we accepting? If it's not acceptable, then why are we here?
Why are you making the choice to stay?
It's a choice.
Yeah.
And the other part is that people like to see you unhappy. There's some people in your circle that you've been friends with for a very long time that are waiting for your complaint.
Yes.
Have you ever sat there and just in reflection thought about how many people you've called that are waiting for your complaint? They
Yeah.
know you're going to complain. They know that you got the tea. They know that you're about to say something's negative, and they're waiting for you to call them to share it because they need to be a part of it.
Yes. But
So,
they don't want to be a part of the good thing.
Listen,
But for the
correct,
drama, they're all here,
listen,
ready
correct.
and available to
listen.
take that call.
Got and you have
But
to be aware of that and those things, those people in your circle, and just the stuff that you ingest in your everyday life, whether it's the music, what you watching on social media, what you watching on TV. Like, I completely unfollowed a bunch of stuff on Instagram because I'm like, I don't like what I see. Like, I don't like how this is making me feel. And now that I've unfollowed those things, it's like, okay, this is the positivity. This is the reinforcement I need. Like, I get to choose what I ingest, whether that's
exactly,
visually, mentally, physically, whatever it is. Like, that's my choice.
in every regard,
Yep.
music,
Yep.
TV, people, right? I don't have to call and tell you my drama,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
And that's
Don't
when
have-
journaling comes in. I know that as we get older, our first instinct is something happens, you call your best friend. I'm the girl, let me tell you what such and such and such. And I've just learned to take a minute
Mm.
and to either write it down, or sometimes I go on my notes on my phone and I ingest exactly what happened, because I have a part in that. I don't care what the situation is, we have a part in everything.
Yeah.
So before I sit there and I go bring some negativity to my friend, or I bring a circumstance to my friend that may already be having a bad day. Like, a lot of times when we're in something, we don't acknowledge somebody else's feelings. Let me just tell you what happened, and they could be having the worst day, and you're gonna lay some more stuff. So I've learned to just pause for a minute, evaluate the situation, and sometimes I'll call my friend and be like, "Let me tell you how stupid I was. Like, I cursed out my boss, and that I didn't mean to, but I was having a bad day."
Right.
And that way I don't need you to therapy me. we can
Right.
we can
Exactly.
move on to, like,
Yeah. You can
triple
just
it.
be like, yeah, that was pretty
Listen,
stupid.
it was a
Yep.
hot mess because the self awareness is real. That accountability piece
Yep.
is real. Like,
Take a
being self
pause.
aware of your part in it.
When you said that about like how it can be in your own circle, it
Uh-huh.
made me think about something that Birdman said. I'm gonna see if I can play it. Okay.
Birdman 5-star.
No ill intention. Right. Niggas be having hidden agendas. And it be, say, bro, a hater. What I learned, a hater, he from a mile away. He a nigga that don't know you. But a nigga that envy you, he around you. And that shit is more detrimental than anything, brother. You got to watch envy over hate. See, hate could be from a distance, and you don't give a fuck about that. He can't touch you. But envy is close to you. And you got to be prepared for that. And you got to know how to deal with that. And
We ain't got no bombs in them motherfuckers. That's a bomb right there.
Listen,
I'ma
that
stop
is
it,
burr,
but
burr, burr, burr. I mean,
that's
that was a bomb.
that's true though.
But that is
right?
true, and they say that like it's close. It's
And what they do is they find somebody like you. So if they can't have you and you're not accessible anymore, they will go find a carbon copy. I just watched The Single Black Female, which is the version of The Single White Female with
well, Raven Goodwin and
yes.
the other one that looked like her.
And I was gonna say the other one that look, and that's exactly where she is, the other one that looked like her.
Okay.
But people who can have access to you will find somebody like you. Y'all will have the same characteristics, you'll have the same behaviors, and you'll have the same, you may even have the same zodiac sign, whatever. And what they'll do is they'll find like-minded people who remind you of them. And then they replace you, and you start to see them do the things with you that they did. That's not really something where you're sitting there going, "Oh wow, they're doing so much better without me." It's to get your attention.
Yeah.
It's to make you.
And people do that in relationships too. I'm sorry to cut
Oh,
you off.
honey.
But we break up with a dude and then we try to go get a new dude.
The same
the
dude. But he the
same
same
kind of
dude.
dude. That's
Wear
going
the same cologne,
jealous.
have
Yeah.
the same car, do
Exactly.
the same restaurants.
Exactly.
And Jill Scott was like, I met a new guy. I tried the same cologne on him,
Ooh, but it
stunk.
stunk. Yes.
And so we try to mold people into people that we've loved or people we've lost. And the real thing about it is, if they were meant to be there, they'd still be there.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yep. If it was meant to be, then they would be there.
Absolutely. Ooh.
And sometimes they just come back around again. So, I mean, what you'll see is, as you're progressing through the shifting and sifting, those people return. And it's the test to see if you really are as comfortable in the place that you decided to be in. So when you moved on from that relationship and you moving and doing your thing, Old dude going to swing the block again.
They
He's
always
going to test the water.
Always.
They
too.
always
He's going to test the water because he wants to see if who you say you are, you really are.
Mm,
And that's in friendship. That's in business. You know, somebody you did business with before is going to swing around the block and say, hey, you know what? I see you doing major things. Maybe we should align now. But
mm,
the part where we're responsible is we may have forgiven, we may have moved on, but we haven't forgotten.
mm,
So do we want to experience that again?
mm.
And are you willing to accept, right?
Exactly.
That's what it comes down. That's the question that I always ask myself, right? Is am I willing to accept? Because I can't unknow what I know.
Yeah.
Because now I'm responsible for that information.
That's right.
Right. So the question becomes, am I willing to? Because for me, when I know something and then I choose to go against my better judgment
Mm-hmm.
because I want to believe that something is different and then
Yep.
it ends up being the same, you have no idea how pissed I am at myself
Mm-hmm.
because I knew it.
Yeah, that gut don't never lie.
That gut don't never lie.
You know what that reminds me of? Remember when we was kids or when we were younger and your mom would tell you, don't buy Payless shoes? And you would sit there and you'd be like, I'm just gonna wear them one time and it ain't gonna be a big thing. And then they broke again. And
Ooh.
my mother would be like, go to Macy's and get you a good pair of
Oh
shoes.
yes, that sounds like my mama. Like, you're being cheap now.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay, mama.
And so really what it is am I willing to be cheap with myself?
Mm.
And so if you want to go and if you're willing to take yourself to McDonald's, then don't ever be upset when somebody else takes you.
Hello, that's
That's it.
exactly what it is. That I could not have said it any
Mhm.
better. And what I told myself is, if I find myself having to abandon myself for
Mm.
someone else,
Mm.
that cost is just too
It's
much.
cost too much.
It's cost too
Yes.
much. If I have to sacrifice myself to that extent
Wow.
to be in relation with you, then honey, this ain't the right relationship. That's why
Not at
my
all.
Find somebody who likes McDonald's. Get you a number 5 friend and go get it.
hello, it's look, there's a McDonald's on every corner. They got plenty of fans. Find you one.
Listen.
That's
It
right.
just ain't me.
Happy Meal with
McDonald's
them.
will wreck my stomach. Okay,
Ooh, yeah.
wrecks the stomach. It ain't for me. Find you somebody that you can do that with.
Listen here.
It just ain't me.
I ain't ate McDonald's in about 10 years.
Now
Like,
I
that's
will
all.
dibble dabble in those fries though, every now and again.
Yeah, that salt on them fries is good. I can't lie.
It's a different. It's a different fry.
something. Look,
Yes.
it's a different fry.
Oh no. No,
But
because when we went to Vegas when we was waiting on that other place, that McDonald's was
Yeah,
slapping too.
it
Though.
was.
Yeah.
But you know what you're getting. So you know that if you
I
do
know
walk
what
in
you're
there, you know that you need to get you some Imodium or probably stay close to somewhere else where you got to go.
There.
But the whole fact of the matter is what like you very much so eloquently said, is once you know something, you cannot unknow it. And that's with trust. That's in a relationship of trust. If you know that somebody's broken your trust, anything that they do after that will trigger that fact for you.
Mhm.
That's with girlfriends, somebody borrowing your shoes. It is with all of those things, is once you know something, you cannot unknow it.
Yeah.
And what I know is that I can continue to be in collaborative relationship with people in general. I'm not going to sacrifice my win.
Mhm.
Mm,
Yes.
don't do it.
Look, you like this the line right here, honey. You
Listen.
ain't gonna cross this line.
No, I cannot sacrifice my win.
Mm-mm.
How do you know when you're sacrificing your win?
You losing.
Yeah, simple.
Indeed.
You're losing.
Indeed,
That's
because
it.
well, the reason why I say that is because for every win there is a sowing season, right?
Mhm.
And then there's a reaping season. So sometimes it's just not sometimes just not your season,
Sure.
and sometimes, like you said, the L is just a stepping stone,
Yep.
right? So all losses ain't losses.
I'm talking about when you losing, like you really losing, like you're losing your sanity and you're losing your peace.
Peace.
And
Yeah.
you're losing
Ooh,
your finances and you're losing your stability. You're
Mm.
losing things that cannot easily be replaced. If you lose your job, you can get another job. But once you start to lose your integrity and you start to lose your accountability, and you
Yes.
start to lose your reflection, when you look in the mirror and you no longer see the person that you said you were going to be, that is when you need to sit there and go, something is, I'm losing something.
Yes.
That whole mirror is real.
That mirror, real.
That's deep. That's
You know
really
what? I'm
deep.
so glad you said that because actually we were on we do self-care Sunday every Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Chanel and I and a group of other ladies, and there was one Sunday where our friend Ryan wrote me a letter, and she said, "You are this, you are that," and I was like, "I'm none of those things." Oh, but we about to change that today.
Listen,
That's right.
yes,
We gonna change it right now.
it's always
Because this
interesting.
girl that you wrote about sound like a bad bitch.
Listen,
Okay, I want to be her.
listen.
Okay,
Say I
look,
gotta be her because
I
you
gotta
you
be
said
her.
it. I mean, you said it. You said it for me. So here I am. Here I go.
And the part about it is that that's what you projected outward.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You just didn't decide to turn the mirror inward.
Inward, exactly.
And so that's the real part, is that when people come up to you and they go, God, y'all fabulous, and you do this and you do that, that is really who you are.
Mm.
It's that when we internalize and look at ourselves, the first thing you see is a flaw. My nose is too big. I need to lose weight. I got a big forehead, whatever it is.
Ooh.
And so when we start to look at the mirror, and we sit there and we really acknowledge who we are, I'm the boss lady when I look at me, and I'm the boss lady when you look at me.
Mm.
So I'm not going to change who I am, because that's what I want to project out in the world. I want to project out a good friend. I want to project out somebody who's reliable, and I have integrity, and I'm honest, and I'm respectful, and I'm, sensitive. I want to project that. And so when you were talking about the loss, when I turn that mirror towards me and I don't see those things, I have to recalibrate myself.
Mm-hmm.
I have to really look at who's in my barrel. Who am I taking care of? Am I holding on to things that need to be let go of? And what you might see is that when you let go of a friendship or you let go of a relationship, both of you blossom, not just one.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And so you sitting over here like, I need to be away from you. But then the other person starts to do amazing things too.
Yeah.
It's not just one-sided where you're trying to, sometimes separating yourself from somebody is so that they can be better too.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that my relationship with my daughter's father needed to end, but I did not want him to not be successful in his life, not including me,
Right.
because he was still her father. So it didn't mean that when we ended, I ended with the whole resentment of, it wasn't with me. And if you gonna go out and be a millionaire, when you die, she's got an inheritance. So I mean, I feel no kind of way. I wish you success over there.
See, look.
Yeah. And your
But I
happiness
think a lot of people
doesn't
don't
impede on mine.
understand. I think a lot of people don't understand that though. Like, I can wish you well
Absolutely. From
Over
afar.
there.
over there, right? And like I said before, right now, if I realize that you don't have the capacity or I don't have the capacity for this relationship, that does, you know what I'm saying? But now you're free to be you.
Mhm.
And now I'm free to be me, because me telling you no or you telling me no allows both of us to get to that yes.
Yeah.
So
And now in marriage, it's
the
the same
expectation
thing.
is that you do well, right?
Yeah.
Because
In
this one
marriage,
works.
it's the same thing. And that's one of the things when they talk about, being in marriage. A lot of therapy says what I heard you say. So if you're in a relationship with somebody, when you speak back to them about your boundary, what I heard you say, clarity, what I heard you say, accountability.
Yeah.
And so when we're in relationship, which is the season that I'm in right now, is how am I speaking to the people I love?
Mm.
And I need to work on it. Them Capricorn. But
See, mine's is the reverse. Like, I'm not gonna say nothing. Like, I'm gonna just shut down.
I'm gonna attack you, and then I'm gonna let you simmer in it for a while, hopefully. And it's not a healthy thing to do
Yeah.
to
Either
a person, but it's normally something where you didn't have a voice and now you want to overpower your voice, or you had too much voice. You heard too much voice when you were younger and you want it to be quiet.
Yeah.
The best way for things to be quiet is for me to be quiet because you'll be quiet,
Mm.
or I'm gonna be loud because you think I'm not gonna be the person who's a pushover. And so where we get to reflect is, I get to say, like, again, with the sift and shift, I don't want to be this aggressive with my tone to the people I love. Sift. Shift would be is when I speak to you now, I'm accountable for my words.
Yeah.
So if I do error, I'm going to make mistakes. I'm learning at 41.
Yeah.
Please acknowledge the fact that I'm learning, but also correct me. If it don't land on you the right way, say that.
Yeah.
And if I mean it in with ill intent, because it's my habit, it's who I've always been. But the other thing is that when you get to your 60s, you're not going to change nothing. My mother is not changing who she is, no matter what you say, because she is in her 60s
Listen.
and she's lived her life. It's very hard to change at that point. But in these seasons, what you guys are doing so well at, with women of our age group and younger and even older, is that we're giving people the grace to heal.
Yes.
And that is, it's eye opening when you can change who you are at 40. It's eye
Yes.
opening when you can change who you are in your 30s, because your 30s are for building and your 40s are for living.
Mm-hmm.
Your 20s are for mistakes.
Yeah.
And so when you're in your 40s and you're looking at yourself and you're saying, who do I want to be in the rest of the world? I don't want everybody on my journey. My car's getting smaller. I'm going from,
Look,
minivan to I want a, BMW two-seater with my wind blowing in the head.
give
I
me a coupe.
that's right. And so everybody can't fit in my coupe.
Yeah.
As much as I would like some people to, we just don't fit. And it's okay. Get your own car.
Ooh, I love that part. It's okay.
And I'm gonna go, over here,
Yeah.
and hopefully you can meet me there, or we just, our ends won't meet.
Yeah.
So traveling by yourself, so
Yes.
commendable to just, explore the world, and writing a book on honesty and the chapter that you're in, because I assure you, ma'am, this chapter is not gonna be long, so you better be glad you wrote it down. Because when we, talk to your gentleman friend in a couple seasons, I'm gonna sit there and be like, she wrote a book, and Nancy, that's you. It's definitely it's so powerful to see people evolve.
Yes, it
Yes.
is.
Oh my God.
It is.
Yes, it is.
And that's where the barrel comes from. So I want to evolve. I don't want to, I don't want to stick to my own colors. I don't want to win because by default I've taken people with me. I
Mm,
don't want to project your vision. I want to have my vision too. We can both be visionaries.
mm.
I want to be around people who just make me laugh from the inside out, who, when I say something good, they go like this.
Yeah.
Yes.
You get the little snaps from
And
us.
then, we agree. We have the
Yeah.
same like-mindedness. So we've been through the same struggles, and we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. And so when, you guys share those stories with people, it really requires you to sit there and say, I'm okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so your toast really means a lot, because there's a lot of people who aren't okay.
Mm.
And so, this reflection, this time, gives us the opportunity to not be okay, to analyze why we're not okay, and then sift and shift and do something about it.
Mm,
Mm.
I love this sift and
It's
shift. Like
sift and
that's
shift
cold.
for me.
Yes. Yes. I love that.
And then do something about it.
Yes.
You gotta be accountable. It's you.
It's
You
it's
have to do
it's
something
my
about it.
issue,
Yeah.
right? And I can't expect anybody else to fix my issue.
Yeah. Mm.
Control what you can control.
Right.
And that's all we can do. Oh my gosh. No, this was good.
No, this was a lot. This was
It
a
was good. And I
lot.
feel like we just touched the surface too.
Yeah,
It's definitely so much more to becoming a woman.
Mm.
You don't become a woman, they say you become a woman when you can have children, in your childbearing years, when you get your menstruation, when you become a woman, when you go to college, you become a woman, when you have your first job, you become a woman. I really don't think that you really can analyze you become a woman until you're grown.
Mm.
And grown means that you've experienced some stuff, you've cried about some stuff, you've lost a love, you've gained a love, you've analyzed who you are, and then you can really start to look at it and say, you know what, this works, this don't. But for the ladies who are 20, just live. this is not
Seriously.
really, just live, because you have to have things to talk about when you're 40.
Okay, listen, you gotta have things to talk about. I love that kind of segue with it being International Women's Month. I think
Yes.
International Women's Month Day is tomorrow on the 8th, so this is like right on time. But yes, you are powerful, a powerful woman with a powerful story. Um, and it's just a pleasure having you on because I knew the gems was coming, but this sift and
right.
shift is
But
like
I
up
didn't know
my
they was gonna
alley.
be back to back though.
Listen,
Lift and
back
shift,
to
baby.
back. I'm
No.
just saying,
But
like, your story is amazing.
I love the idea that womanhood is cultivating your garden, right? Because you decide what needs to be pruned, you decide what needs fertilizer, you get to choose what you're going to grow, what you want to call weeds, what you're going to pull up, right? But it's your garden to maintain, right? So you can't control the rain, right? But you can certainly control how you tend to your garden. So there are
Indeed.
some things, to your point, that you are outside of your control, but you don't have to be a victim to it because
Mm-mm.
look, you know that the storm is coming, right? So take cover.
Absolutely. And then in this new season of 41,
Mhm.
what's coming next for Leah in this new season?
So, my commitment to myself was to make my voice powerful this year.
Mm.
And so that's by speaking and writing. I'm in an actual co authors group with a group of women to discuss domestic violence and the experiences that we've all gone through and collectively creating a voice.
Mm.
Um, I am going to be I'm going to be launching in January the Boss Lady Experience, and it is called The Table.
Mm.
And so what we're going to do is we're really going to analyze this whole concept that the boss lady is always in control.
Mm.
And so I got that name through my career, is that no matter what you needed, I was there, I was available, I was ready. And it just kind of became this phenomenon in the world where everybody's like, I want to be the boss and I'm the boss lady. And the hustle is not smart if you're not smart about it.
Mm.
And so I really want to talk about how what as women can we control and what can't we control.
Mm.
So I'm excited for a couple new things coming up, but I'm always here to talk, and kiki with you ladies about the next chapters of
Well, we
life.
gonna have to have you come on when you launch
Listen,
the
yes.
table
I'm
so we
like,
can talk about
Listen,
the
come to
idea of
the table. Just bring
listen.
a chair and come to the table. I'm excited.
I'm sure like, okay, we'll be right back in your
Yeah,
DM and your email. Like, all
that's
right,
right.
come
I'm
on back.
always excited.
in January.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Birth month. Nice.
Yes, yes.
I love it. Cracking. Okay. So that's what's next. That's exciting.
Mhm.
So definitely keep us posted.
Absolutely.
So that we can support you in any way because you got it. Yes. We're excited.
Well,
And
you
I cannot wait to order my sweatshirt. I want my t-shirt. I want my book. I'm on my cup. I'm proud of this next step. I love that you guys got married.
All
I
right.
know,
Yay,
right?
thanks.
Look, we
Will you be my wifey? All wifed up.
Thanks. Good news.
right.
We've
I know, right?
married.
Look, Chanel got the shirt
Listen,
on,
I'm
property up.
representing.
I'm just
Listen.
playing.
I see. They liked it and put a ring on it. So
Look, they
Listen,
did,
they liked
honey. They
us.
put the
that's
ring on that. Okay.
and it really is just going to be so impactful. You guys really don't get to see how much your words mean at times when you probably feel like you're just doing what you're supposed to do. And so we commend you for being a stand in the culture,
Oh,
in the
thank you.
community, and being women who will use your voice to make other voices powerful.
Mm.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's definitely a salute to you guys for being the best you can be.
Whew, our
Thank
heartstrings.
you.
Thank
Wow.
you. Yes,
Aw.
that
Please
that
don't make
means
us
everything
cry.
on the real. I'm like, Lord, no, that means everything, and we know coming from you, like it's coming from a genuine
A
place,
sincere
a
place.
sincere
Yes.
place for sure. So we don't take that lightly. So thank you,
And we
thank you,
appreciate you for coming and adding value to our platform
absolutely,
because you said a whole
Anytime.
lot on
all
today,
the
Anytime.
as you
words,
per usual,
right?
as you always
We
do.
didn't expect anything
Yes.
less having you
And
on
we
the show.
appreciate the idea as well for the topic. And like I
Yeah,
said, and for you coming on and being vulnerable to share your story, because that's where the healing really is, right?
absolutely.
Is when we can come together and we can voice our truth. And you know what? And that's the other thing too. A lot of times with us women, we are afraid to talk about what happened to
Yeah,
us, right? Because we don't want to, we don't want our business out in the
yeah.
streets, child, and we don't want to, tarnish somebody else's name or
Hmm.
whatever. But we deserve to be able to express whatever has happened to us,
Yeah,
whatever we need to be healed from. That's where the freedom comes in. That's where the healing is through the conversation and being able to release it.
absolutely. Yeah,
You
that part.
know, the
Being able to
releasing of
release
it
it.
and the teaching of it to somebody else. That's how you know you healed, when you can teach somebody.
Absolutely.
That's right. Unapologetically me. Sorry.
Being unapologetically me.
Absolutely. That's the best. And shout out to this platform for allowing people to do just that. Like
Right.
that's really what we stand on and giving a space for black women to share their stories.
Right. Where people can reflect and say, is that me? Have I done that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Look, there's some stuff you say, I'd be like, oh, child, you in my business. You're in my business.
Exactly.
Listen.
That's definitely the parts is that, it's really important that you, when you're sharing something and it falls on you and you kind of, think about it, even things that you ladies have said, just even this conversation, it's really just, to sit back and reflect and just see where you're at, because there's a lot of times where you think that something's just happening to you,
Yes.
and it is happening to many. It is happening to people who don't want to take the masking tape off of their mouth and speak.
Yes.
And so, like you said, it becomes the thing that causes a lot of confusion and chaos in a person's mind. And so without our words, we have less power. We're not powerless, but we have less power to be impactful in the world. So
Yes.
use your words, people.
Use your word
Listen.
and listen to the words,
Yeah.
right? And
That's
and
right.
sometimes too, it's about shifting your perspective, because maybe you saw things one way and then you listen to the episode and you're like, you know what? Maybe I need to look at it differently.
Yeah.
Maybe
Go
that
ahead,
person
sift and shift. Go
look,
ahead.
sift and shift. Okay.
Sift and shift.
It's
I
like,
like
oh,
that.
you know what? So 10 years ago, when this person ended the relationship, maybe they said they loved me, but they couldn't be with me. Maybe they meant that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe that's literally what it was. They do love me, but they need the distance.
Yep. Yep.
So it's just being open to the conversation and just hearing the different perspectives and allowing people the room to express where they are without the judgment.
Go ahead and write it down.
I
No,
love
but I
That is
it.
love
a
it.
word.
And anytime you have a microphone here, anytime,
Of course.
you are always a pleasure to have. We learn from you. So I cannot wait to see what's going to happen with the boss lady at the table.
Yes. The boss
Yes.
experience.
The boss lady
Right.
experience, honey.
Yes, we definitely are bosses in our own right, but we are bosses that can be broken. We are bosses that can be, bruised, and we can be bosses that are too bossy. So it's definitely going to be exciting to sit at the table and really have somebody pull up a chair and not only acknowledge who they are to the outside world, but like we said, reflect on the inside.
Absolutely.
That's good.
Absolutely. And if you could say more about this collective author journey that you're on to talk about domestic violence, is there a launch date? Is there a book
Yeah.
title?
There is an amazing lady. Her name is Sierra Walker, and she is actually the host of the book. And so she did a beautiful book proposal to us, each one of the authors, like you would for a bridesmaid. And she just asked us all to share our stories. So it definitely will be coming soon. I know that she's got some dates planned. But we just continue to, with my organization, break the silence on domestic violence. It's real. It's happening. Whether you speak about it or not, it's still going to happen. It's really just, how do you want to leave the legacy that you have behind? And I knew that if I did not open my mouth, first and foremost, my daughters would have to wear my scars. And then if I did not share with others who had experienced and didn't want to open their mouth, then they would feel lost. Like I felt really kind of just in a position where it was either, fight or flight. And if you do not have a place to go or a conversation to have, you just sit there. And so these kind of things, these opportunities, these places to have communion and conversation were needed. But we were going to talk about some honest things. I mean, I've shared my story with you guys. Windows breaking on highways is not something that you want to say is, an accomplishment in your life, but I learned from it. And you have to be able to reflect on your parts too. Abuse is not one-sided. And so there's a certain point, and I've said this many times, where the abused becomes the abuser. And so you have to reflect on your part. And so as I continue to speak, it also heals my heart.
Yeah.
It heals my triggers. It heals the things in me that I didn't appreciate about myself. And that's where we want to use our voices. It's very similar to how you guys are using your voices to heal all different types of things. If we open our mouths, we have more power collectively than when we sit on it and tuck it under the rug and hide it.
That's good. That's exciting.
Yes.
Definitely will be on the lookout for that.
Yes, I'm excited about this, honey.
That's gonna be amazing.
We have to share our stories. We
I'm like,
are
when
history.
is domestic violence?
In
Awareness Month?
October.
October.
October. And so in October, I'm actually hosting something called the Pack and Pray. And what it is that what you'll find normally is that when a survivor leaves a situation, the first thing they do is try to find resources, and then they stay.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second time, what they do is they pray. Somebody says something or does something or heals something, and then you pack. But normally at that point, you can't pack a luggage because then they'll know you don't have. You can't take everything. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do an ask of people to donate luggage, so that when
Mm-hmm.
people do leave, they have a place. We're going to give a storage unit, and it will be a place where you can store your bag. And when you're ready, you give us a call and you let us know, and we'll give you that bag full of, at least 2 pair of clothing, a stuffed animal for a child if you're bringing them, deodorant, your necessities. And that way, when you leave, you at least have something.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times you just have to walk away.
Yeah.
And so you start your whole entire life over again. People are walking away from 3-bedroom houses and cars and all these things because they're attached to poison,
Mm-hmm.
that's not healing for them. And so you end up with children who don't have their toys from their room or pictures from their childhood. And you got a garbage bag or, even a store bag, full of items just to survive. And so luggage is a really big factor to moving on.
Mm.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. That's heavy.
I love that.
Yeah,
I
that's
love the
great.
whole idea of it.
You got to pack and pray.
I
Pack
can
and
pray.
pray,
Pack
honey.
and pray.
Mm.
Pack and pray. No, that's good. It's one less thing you got to worry about, right? It's like
Mm-hmm.
just leave at this point,
Just
right?
go.
Just go
Yeah.
Just
when
go.
you feel it, because sometimes you teeter totter and you like, I should go, I should not go, I should go, I should like just, and you can't talk yourself out of it now because you don't have no reason,
Yeah.
right? The resource.
Normally, when the impulse actually happens, you're not prepared. You can plan all you want, and so originally it was plan, pack, and pray. But
Mhm.
when that moment, that instant happens that I won't take anymore, there's not a plan. It's just that I've decided.
Yeah.
And so, as most of us know, when we make a decision, it's that instant
If you don't
without.
act within 30 seconds,
That's
it's
It's
a
right.
wrap.
yeah. It's
It's
that
a
it's
wrap.
that flight too. Like I just gotta go.
Literally,
Right.
if you don't
And
act
so
within
you
30
leave with
seconds.
no underwear. You leave with you leave with none of the necessities. Prayerfully, hopefully, you'll leave with a couple of dollars in your pocket. But if it's joint money, as soon as you swipe that card, they know where you are.
Mm-hmm.
So really, it's just the pray and pack and know that there's a world out here that's willing to accept and support everything that you've gone through.
With
Mm.
no judgment. Look at God.
No judgment, just a lot of grace.
That's
That's
good.
beautiful. Yeah.
A lot of grace.
That's good.
Oh
Mhm.
wow. Yeah.
That is good. Yeah, we gonna have to have you come back and talk more about that one.
Yeah, I love
Oh,
that.
absolutely.
I love that.
Absolutely. I would love to talk more about, domestic violence and how it's affecting us right now. It's just with COVID, it's been the silent killer.
Yeah,
People
I'm
did
sure.
not leave.
Yeah.
The statistics went up by double because people who were in these relationships, where were you going to go during COVID? Who are you going to stay with? Who is going to let you come in their home? What hotel were you going to be able to stay at that, would be clean and comfortable?
Mhm.
So a lot of people have just stayed, and the death rates, the ER visits,
Mm.
all of that doubled, and it can make you feel very alone, and it can make you do some real terrible things to yourself.
Mm,
Because if this person who loves you believes all these things about you, how could they not be true?
yeah. I can't even imagine, and well, I saw it through like children, like working at a school, like just being around, those kids who they were pretty much taking care of themselves. So that was crazy for me to even think about them. Like, how are they getting through this time where we were like literally shut down? So I can't even imagine those people who were in those domestic violence relationships and what they had to endure because there was nowhere else to go, like literally.
Mm.
And so now that we have a lot less restriction and a lot more things open, the influx now of people who are ready to leave
Mm,
is now we have the same thing. So we had an undercapacity to be able to serve, and now we have an overcapacity because
mm,
people are now more confident in leaving. But still, it's who's listening.
yeah.
So it really is just giving the opportunity for voices to be heard.
What's that
Well,
show, Chanel, that you had me watch on Netflix where the girl decided to leave, but they were like giving her hell about even trying to give her resources. She ended up being a housekeeper.
It's made, and when I
Maybe.
tell you, if you've ever
like
experienced
what?
domestic, If you've ever experienced domestic violence, maid will take you on an emotional roller coaster of watching it from the perspective of somebody who wanted to leave like that and being engaged in a relationship like that, being a maid, having your kids sleep in a train station, all those things, that wasn't a movie. That was real. And that movie is made about a real person.
Yeah.
I've slept in a train station.
Yeah.
And literally just been like, okay, I think that this is the safest place for us to be today. Just so that we have security.
Yeah.
And so hard decisions are made. But that just really goes back to the whole, I wasn't willing to let go of the monkeys
Yeah.
to win because I really felt like they would keep me safe. And they would make me, I was belonging to something. I was a part of something. And that was in I worked a job where I was making a nice amount of money. And I would go in there with my suit, and those people had no idea that I didn't have a place to live when I got off work.
Mm-hmm.
And they were blown away. I mean, as your life starts to come out, they had no idea how for 6 months I lived in a hotel with my daughter. And every day I made it to work on time in a suit, pressed. She was dressed for school. You couldn't have known that we were doing that. And my daughter made it easy. She really was just wherever I was, she wanted to be.
Yeah.
But it can get really hard. And so, when we talk about the ask for the evening, my ask for everybody who's listening would be to just look at your soil. You were talking about seeds. And if it looks hard and it doesn't look like it's going to produce, till it, flip it, sift it, really just make the changes today. Do what you can today. Control what you can. Because if you do not, life was going to happen to you anyway.
You're going to reap.
Yeah.
And if you reap on bad ground.
And that's what it is. It's about, because we can sow seeds all day, but if it's not on good ground.
Yeah.
If it's not on good ground, then it will not profit.
Not at all.
Right.
And you can't leave when your ground is bad.
Nope.
You can't harvest. You have no money. Those are real things, is that when your ground is not, your soil's not tilled and your ground is not good, I don't care how long it rains. Right. Nothing will grow.
Nothing will grow.
Nothing.
Yeah. You're just compounding the problems. But I think the issue is it's so hard to see that the solution is who you're connected to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we give excuses for everything else. We're like, oh, it's the job. I can't, they're not paying me enough money, whatever. The kids is cutting up. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just doing the most because it's not, we don't want it to be the thing that it is.
Yeah.
Normally the thing that it is right here.
Hey, listen, staring you right in the mirror. Shout out to Robin Bloom. Like, she said she would be so proud of this episode too, because accountability is huge. It's you.
Always. It is a mirror moment. And you just need to go and sit in front of that mirror. And, if you want to be angry at it, go ahead. If you want to, write on it and then tell it how you feel, do that too. But at the end of the day, the choice, the change, and the opportunity all rely on you.
Yes, the choice.
Every single time.
Opportunity. Yes.
Every single
time. Right.
So get out of your barrels and stop staying connected so that you can get the win.
Winning season.
Listen,
it is all when it. Listen, I don't know wherever anybody's at, but Q2 of this year, which starts on April 1st, is winning season for ladies.
It's winning season.
Okay,
it is winning season. Okay.
I know weddings are coming, prosperity is coming, new opportunities are coming. We are just touch and agree. We are here to make impact. We are here to make provision. Yeah. We are here not to accept what we no longer want to accept. And now it is our time to show them what we're made of. Black Girl Magic, it has arrived.
It's in full effect.
Come on.
It has arrived.
But what Issa Rae say? It's feeling like me season.
Me season.
You're going to have to unfollow me because it's me. I like to thank God for me.
That's right. And the more you say that, the more that the people around you will be be grateful for you too. So
Amen.
what you put out, you will attract. You want good, go get good.
Right.
Let's go.
And to get good, you got to let go of bad. But you got to be able to recognize it, and you got to be able to see, like, this is not good for me.
It's not serving me.
It's not good for me.
Yep.
And I don't accept what's not good for me.
Come on.
Listen, boundaries.
Boundaries.
Woo.
Okay, that's the B word of the year.
Okay.
That's right. And that's a real part of it. Besties with boundaries.
Okay.
So,
Look,
Part 2.
I'm down. We can take the barrel out. We can definitely be about boundaries, because
Part 2.
now that we have we have good soil. We're going to come out of here with good soil. We're going to lose the mentality that we're going to have to take people with us who will not help us win.
Yeah. Ooh.
And now we need to go out there and, make something happen with boundaries.
with boundaries.
Period.
Do not go out there in the world, be, accepting everybody open arms. We need boundaries.
Boundaries. And like Robin said, my boundaries are for me.
For me.
Right. I don't
Period.
necessarily have to go announcing. I don't got look. I do not accept. Period. It don't matter what your boundaries are. I don't accept. Period.
Well, here's the part, and that's the honest truth: is when you build a house and you put up a fence, is it for the neighbors or is it for you?
Right. Hello.
Come on with the imagery. I
Hello.
love it.
So I mean, if I'm gonna make boundaries, I would like, I want the good white picket fence. With,
Okay.
I want to be able to put some, roses hanging off of it. If I'm making boundaries, then I want them to reflect me, because they may pick a boundary for me that's like them wood pokey stick looking ones.
Yeah.
And that's not gonna work on my ground.
Hello. Man. And then going back to the thing about winning, people that want you to win gonna help you win.
Indeed.
So that's my new requirement. You can't be.
I really believe that this year success begins with a handshake.
It does.
It really believes with the extending.
I know for sure it's a team effort.
Absolutely.
I know for sure that success is a team effort. I'm a witness to that.
It starts with the extending of a hand. Just
Yes,
like
it
y'all
does.
got married and that ring was put on your finger.
Yes,
It starts with the extending of a hand. So if you want success, you have to extend your hand. But in order to do that, you're gonna have to let one of them go.
Ooh, hello.
You can't hold nobody else's hand if you got two hands holding somebody else.
You can't. You got to release one to get the other.
And extend the hand, and success will follow.
That's it right there.
That's a word.
And you have to use your judgment and your boundaries to know which hand.
Girl.
Which hand to let go of and which hand to take.
Listen.
That's right. That is right. So, I mean, I'm just really excited that we've given people the opportunity to think about where they really are.
Yes.
And then to do.
And to do.
To do. Because it's me season.
And only you can prevent forest fire.
That's right. That's right. It is me season.
It's me season. I know that's right.
Love it.
Oh my God. This was everything.
This was good.
This was everything. This was confirmation.
Listen.
This was everything.
It was everything.
Okay. Jesus.
So
man.
I love when we have honest conversation. Transparent conversation between women is important.
You got to. Absolutely have to.
They say, what's the saying go that Ian Levin says is it's not that's my sister, but it's that's me.
Yeah, she does say something like that.
Yep.
Where it's just like we're all connected.
Yeah. Be a reflection of me.
Right.
And find people who are like-minded.
Find people that are like-minded.
If you a person who like to stay up and hustle, work hard, don't go hanging out with somebody who like to get up early.
Right.
And then don't travel with them.
Right.
That's where we make mistakes, is we think that everybody can be our travel buddy and our party buddy and our dream buddy. And listen, I don't have to like everybody, but I can't do everything with everybody. Right. I have a friend I travel with because we like to travel the same way. I have a friend I, do business with because she has a business mentality that I like. But you don't have to you can have a friend for every season.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yep. I think Robin said that too. Like she just put people on the show. Like I know when I'm gonna take you down, and I know what I need from who and when.
That's right.
And that's very true.
Right.
And they'll be okay with it, because you could talk to somebody in 3 months and it'd be like you talked to them yesterday. You could talk to somebody every day and, it could feel like you haven't spoken to them in a whole, you guys for 2 weeks, it can feel like y'all was just together yesterday. So it really is just
I know, because it feels like I haven't been here for ages.
Yes, it definitely feels like forever. I was like, dang, like, I ain't seen her face in a long time.
And then I was like, you got braces?
Now
Who are you? Who are you?
Now that for me, I kind of would have been like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I was.
She did like a double take. Like,
who are you?
Like,
and where's my bestie?
I would have been calling you for food too. I probably would have been like, "What are you eating?" Because at least I would know you're okay.
Listen. I'm like, she's good.
She was like, so what y'all be eating over there now?
Well, no. I asked her, was she eating, because I know how picky she is. So I'm like, are you eating?
That is true.
Are you getting sustenance? Because you'll be passed out in the desert.
I didn't come back skinny.
Jesus. I'm like,
that is true.
That's
actually a great question.
So in my head,
that is very true.
That's me asking, are you good?
Check.
I'll be like, there we go. I will be like, no. Like, would you like? Nope. I don't want none of this.
I don't eat this.
I am very much that way when it comes to food.
Boundaries.
When I travel though, I eat what they eat.
You do.
So
when in Rome,
sometimes
for sure you do.
And you guys are going on another trip soon, right? You guys.
Where are we going?
I thought you were going to Paris.
Oh no, so there was another group that went to Paris.
Yeah.
There was another group, but it was overlapping with the Dubai trip, and I was like, nah.
Listen.
So that happened like a couple weeks before, but they ended up going. I ended up not going because I was like, I got to know my limits here.
They went, but I'm gonna go to Jamaica. I'm gonna come back with an accent and everything.
Yeah, you better go and get you a Winston and everything.
Okay.
Forget your accent. You can get you some red stripe and a Winston.
First of all, it's Winston. That's what we're doing.
Okay. That's right. You get your red stripe and a Winston. Yes. And call it a day.
That is fun.
Get your groove back. Okay.
That's right. But I love the fact that you guys are living out loud for 2022.
Yes. And you are too.
Yes.
Okay?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
41.
Yes,
ma'am. Look. A new chapter. Okay, a new beginning. Listen. God said he's doing a new thing.
In me. Yes.
Look. And every time he does, come back and share it with us.
Seriously.
Listen,
it's the wisdom for me.
I can't wait for y'all to. I'm telling you, 41 feels good though. 40.
Well, if 41 is gonna look like 21, then sign me up for the 41.
Girl, don't let me open my grays. Nope.
Us too. I was getting my hair done. My stylist was like, "Look at all your gray hair," and I was like, "Look,
it's wisdom. It's just you know what? I'll take the gray hair because it's wisdom. It means there's something in there. I learned something, and then I put some dye on it, and my boundaries say I look good again.
There we go.
Hello.
Cause mine got the nerve to be long too. I'm like, really?
Well, you have a teenager, so definitely
that's what it's coming from. I know it's him. It's JR.
Don't try to scapegoat the baby.
Accountability.
Listen, it's
right. It ain't him. We just that's what it is. I ain't got no teenagers. I got some grays too. Okay, it didn't pop up.
No, it's us. Actually, we did this to ourselves.
Okay, I saw a gray in my eyebrow, and I said, "Now hold on, now."
Now that's disrespectful.
That is very disrespectful. I thought I had a piece of lint on my face all day that I just couldn't get off. Jesus, and it was gray. I said, "Oh no."
See, now we doing too much.
But you know what I love is when I went to get my eyebrows done, that lady just plucked it right out. She didn't ask. She didn't say anything. See, that's the type of love that I want and that I need in any type of encounter.
Just pluck it and
she just took that thing out. I came home and I was like, oh, that little gray thing is gone.
It's gone.
She asked no questions. She just took that thing right out.
Plucked and go. Pluck and go. Okay.
That's what we're talking about. We want people who just examine us and take out the bad and move it over.
Fix the crown. Okay. Just fix the crown. You ain't gotta tell me it's crooked. Just fix it.
Just fix it. Shoot.
Come on. Fix it, Jesus. Fix it.
Fix it. Oh.
Yep, but no.
So, ladies, what are we taking away? What goes in our to-go box? I'm going to start with you, Bestie.
Wow, it was so much in this episode. And I'm trying to think exactly one thing that I would take away is probably like the standing still part. I think, and we've talked about this before on the podcast, but I think people like to skip that season. It's uncomfortable. I don't like it. I have to do some self-reflection, but on our podcast, we talk about it a lot. That is very necessary. So I'm glad that you were able to verbalize what it was like for you in that season and in that moment and what made you be still, and then how you came out of it and how you're now in a new season. And people don't want to go through that, and we don't hear it often either, of people really being real about that still season and that time where I needed to pause. But that's the beauty of our show, again, where we're vulnerable enough to have that conversation and say, okay, this is where I was at. People were depleting me, I was depleting myself, and I needed to stop. And this is how I came out of that. So I think that's important piece that I'm going to take away.
Absolutely. And Lea, what are you taking away?
You know what I loved about everything that you both of you ladies said was the win. And I really am in this chapter looking to get the win for myself. And that comes first. So if things got to sift, if they got to shift, if they got to go, if I have to build some boundaries, then I'm ready for the win.
Right.
Amen.
Yeah. I'm taking away that Lea is amazing.
Okay.
Taking that away. I'm taking away that you're coming back.
Okay.
That's
Absolutely. Whatever you need.
a thing. And then I'm also taking away like where you started, talking about the connections, and then by the end you talked about how our wins are connected to handshakes. And I do believe that people are portals. I do believe that women in particular, we are helpmates, however you want to say it. I do think that I do believe that success is a team sport. I do think that a lot of our win, like I can never say that I was successful in something independently. Right. It may have been with a different group. It may have been, whatever, but it's never like, oh, I did this 100% on my own. That just doesn't happen. Somebody had to help in some capacity. So I do think it is so important that we evaluate our connections because our life depends on it. I love what you said about the soil and about how we cannot keep planting on bad ground because you will be depleted. Because I'm pouring into your dream. I'm about you. But baby, if you ain't about me, then who gonna be about me?
Listen.
Well, guess what? I gotta be about me.
Got to.
So if you're not gonna plant over here, that's cool. I respect it. And I release you to go plant wherever you feel need to plant. But I will plant here, and I will be here for those who wish to plant with me, who see me as good ground. So I think it was an amazing episode. I actually, when we started, I was thinking about like crabs in a barrel. Like that was my frame of reference. So I love that you had a different perspective of it with the monkeys in the barrel and how the goal is to win. Right. But it's based on who you're connected to. That alone, that
so
analogy,
good.
the first 5 seconds of the episode is enough for me to go and stew on that and be like, okay, who am I connected to?
Yes.
And there's a preacher that went viral where he talks about how you know who you're connected to because they hurt when you hurt. Right. And he made the whole analogy of if you close your hand in the door, you'll start jumping. And he was like, but your feet wouldn't hurt. But if you're connected, you respond, right? So he was saying, like, you know who's connected to you by the way that they respond to your pain. So if you're inflicting the pain, right, then maybe we're not connected.
Right.
That right there is a telltale sign. But I just think that it was a joy having you on today. I think that it's causing me to do a lot of thinking. And it's also making me want to show up, making sure that I'm showing up for my people, in the way that they deserve, right? If I believe that they are valuable and I believe that they are good ground, then I need to be sowing into them too.
Same.
I love the way people support me, but I need to have that same energy.
Same.
Because I want you, look, they always say that people who want to see you win help you win. So where's the evidence? If it's winning season, if you telling me you praying for me, well, where's the effort? Because faith without works is dead. Okay.
Amen.
So where's the energy? I need the energy.
It's energy for me.
Right. But if we're not a good fit, I can acknowledge that and accept it and humbly make the adjustments.
Break up with me, baby.
Break up with me.
Yes.
Release me.
That's right. That's right.
This is good.
Well, thanks for tuning in to Brunch with Besties podcast. Until next time, peace.
Oh,
All
why
right, and we are officially
stuck?
off the air.
Yes. Oh wait, let me turn this live off.